Hi, it's Lee from the Japanese Water Gardens. Happy New Year! Before I get started on this week's video, I'm going to quickly explain what some of my plans are for YouTube in 2023. I want to upload a lot more content this year. Videos like this one that you're going to watch today, where I'm explaining how big a koi pond should be, how deep it should be, that kind of thing. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to answer at least 200 of the top questions that everybody has when they're thinking about building a pond, maintaining a pond, or looking after the fish. So I'll make a whole series of videos throughout the year that answer those top, let's say, 200 or 300 questions. I'm also going to be doing videos like the one that you're going to see next week, where I'm out at customers. I'm helping him install a really big liner into a pond. It was a big job. Filmed the whole thing. I think you'll find it interesting. There'll be 1 or 2 videos on that coming up soon next week. And my apologies, at the moment it's a bit of a building site here because we're about to start a new project round the back of the shop. Obviously at the moment everything's closed down, it's winter, there's no fish in any of these vats, so we're going to start the new tanks around the back of the shop there. I'll just quickly show you. We've got 4 or 5 new tanks going in around there. They're holding tanks. They're going to be there so that we can bring in a bigger volume of fish and have more room to move fish around, offer better varieties, do more offers and things like that. Now, let's get on with this week's video. This week's video is about pond size, how deep, how big. So let's get stuck into that. Now, at the moment, our fish are in our main pond here and the polystyrene covers on, so just bear with me while I get those covers off. Right, I'll grab some food, and I'm not sure how interested they'll be actually because it's still quite cold. The reason that we've got these polystyrene covers on is to help keep the pond insulated. That helps us to keep the running cost of the heater to an absolute minimum. The temperature at the moment is, let's have a look. Not sure that thermometer's working very well, but I know it's around about 8 or 9 degrees. Let's give them a bit of food and let's see if they're that interested. Just feeding them a bit of wheat germ fish food at the moment. By the way, I know in the comments people are going to say that that's nishikoi growth, but it's not. I've just scooped some wheat germ into there for you. Got a big tub of wheat germ and I just dip into it. Yeah, they're looking all right. And one of the things that we do find when we use this polystyrene on top is you get a few bits of polystyrene floating around on the water afterwards. But it's not a big deal. We've not had any problems with it. There's no way that that's toxic to the fish or anything like that. But it is a little bit annoying, so we just have to scoop it off when we open them up. We open them up every 2 or 3 days just to check on them. Right, on with the video for today. Can't stop feeding them, that's the problem. So the topic for this video is how big and how deep should you make your pond if you're going to keep koi? The reason I'm making this video is it's one of the most common questions that we get asked here. And really, there is no obvious answer to it, because in an ideal situation, you wouldn't keep koi in a garden pond at all. They'd be in a big lake, or if you were building a pond that you wanted to get the very best out of koi, then of course it's going to need to be 30 foot long, 12 foot wide, 5 foot deep, have multiple bottom drains, a massive filter system and things like that. But that's not really what most people are asking. Most people want to know whether or not they can keep koi in a pond that's perhaps not ideal, but as good as what they can provide. So this pond here, this is our largest pond at Japanese Water Gardens. This is actually quite a big pond. It's 19 foot long, it's 10 foot wide, and it's roughly 5.5 foot deep. Now, if you add on the volume of waters in the filters that's down the back, it's got quite a big filtration system. The volume is about 7,500 gallons, which is absolutely perfect for a koi pond. Well, we're quite lucky here, we've got plenty of space, so of course we're going to build a nice big pond. But it's not necessarily the case that everyone has got the space or the desire to build something as big as this. So is it possible to get away with a smaller pond? Of course it is. A pond of half this size is still going to be more than adequate for all but the very biggest koi. In fact, people have kept koi successfully in all sorts of shapes and sizes of pond. Right down to even large aquariums has been used successfully in the past to keep koi. Now, that in no way is suggesting that an aquarium is perfect for them, because obviously it's not. And if you do keep them in an aquarium, you've got to be very careful with your water parameters, your pH, ammonia and nitrite and things like that. And when they get awkwardly big for the aquarium, you would need to move them on into a pond. Most people that keep koi understand that bigger is going to be better in terms of pond depth and water volume. But it's not just about the depth either. The surface area of the pond is quite an important factor. It's no good, for instance, building a pond that's 20 foot deep and only has a surface area of 25 square feet, because even though that's going to be incredibly well insulated and it'll hold a good temperature, the depth of water would make a large volume of water. The amount of the proportions of that pond would just be ridiculous, and the fish would just go straight down into the bottom and you would never see the fish. It's quite possible to keep koi successfully in smaller ponds. Ponds like preform ponds. They're not particularly deep, they don't have a lot of surface area, but if you're only looking to keep a few smaller koi, then a preform pond is going to be okay. A pond that is really deep will never be beautifully clear. The deeper you go, the more difficult it is going to be to see the fish on the bottom. A bigger pond is usually going to be better for the fish. But if you went really big, would it be practical?
Always remember to go bigger.
Bigger is better.
For example, if the width was more than 12 feet, how would you ever be able to catch a fish up when it needs a treatment? In my opinion, the maximum depth that you should go to with a koi pond is about 6 feet. If you go much deeper than 6 feet, maintenance can be incredibly difficult, if not impossible. If the bottom drain cover comes off, for example, and you're down at 8 or 9 feet deep, how the hell are you going to get down there to put it back on? Also, think about the work that's involved in creating something that's incredibly deep. It's backbreaking digging out clay to make a pond. It's just ridiculous. For me, what is important is that we always get the best out of what's available to us. Making a decision when you're constructing your pond to go a little bit deeper is usually the right decision, but you shouldn't do that at the expense of sacrificing something else. Using a bottom drain and using the right kind of filter system is far more important than going down an extra couple of feet in depth. Right, let's summarize the whole thing in one go. You can successfully keep koi in quite small ponds. They don't necessarily have to be incredibly deep. If you go really deep, you can have maintenance issues. If you've got a pond that's quite shallow, you need to be careful in winter that it doesn't freeze up. A bigger pond will usually mean that you can keep more fish and it'll be easier to maintain the water. But if a pond is absolutely massive, how can you catch the fish up when you need to do that for a treatment, for instance? This video, like all of my videos, has ended up taking me most of the day to shoot it. So I'm going to wrap up for now. I'm going to say, please subscribe to the channel. Got loads more videos coming out just like this year. Have a great evening. It's bye for now from Lee and Japanese Water Garden.